Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Becomes the Red Dragon King Part 2. Before we start, please go support Issei Lucifer for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 4. When the light died down, they arrived at the new training grounds and they saw Roswis. Azazel. Hey Roswis, we're back. Roswis. Hello everyone. Riaz. Hello. Akeno. Hello Roswis. Asia. It's great to see you again. Zenobia. You've been busy. Tiba. Hello Sensei. Issei. Hello Roswis. Ravel. Roswis, it's good to see you, so this is the new training grounds. Roswis. Yes, Azazel asked me to help fortify the barriers, and it's good to see all of you. Azazel. Now that the greetings are out of the way, I want to see what all of you can do. You'll need to become stronger, not just to beat Saraerg, but also to deal with our foes, specifically the Cows Brigade. The fight with Cao Cao and his team clearly showed how much we need to improve, including me. They've had time since the fight to analyze our moves, the same tactics won't work on them. Cao Cao, what you call a technique type, so is Georg. They'll properly analyze their opponents before counter-attacking or attacking at a later time. We can't afford to underestimate them. We'll start with a demonstration of power and then I'll pair you up. So who wants to go first? Issei was the first to speak up. Issei. I'll go first. Azazel. Alright Issei, you're up. A large boulder was teleported into the training ground as Issei walked forward. When Issei reached the boulder, he put his hand on it and without summoning his boosted gear, made it explode into nothing. Only a few pebbles remained. Everyone was shocked. Azazel. Issei, what was that? Issei. It's my new technique, Dragon Break. It's derived from Dress Breaker, its focus is pure destruction, it can be used to destroy something or destroy a part of it. Azazel. Interesting, it's certainly effective and it'll become stronger the more powerful you become, it could be a huge help in battles against our enemies. Asia. Issei, when did you have time to come up with that? Issei. Azazel, can you send another boulder? I want to try something else. Issei ignored Asia, making her feel sad. Zenobia put a hand on Asia's shoulder trying to comfort her. Azazel. Sure kiddo, damn, he's completely giving them the cold shoulder, but it's to be expected after what they did to him. I'd do the same if I was in his position. However, this will certainly cause problems between the group. I know he said he didn't love them, but is that true? This is really childish. All of them need to mature, they won't be able to move forward unless they do. I understand why Riaz was upset, but they need to talk things out or it may very well spell death for the group. Roswis, Riaz and the girls, you made a huge mistake. I understand not seeing his trauma and what he's been going through, even I didn't notice it, but saying you regret turning him into a devil was a low blow. Riaz. We're all lucky he didn't activate the Juggernaut drive, especially you Riaz. Any deaths that would have occurred would have been on your hands, not to mention he's the heart and strongest member of our group. I hope you and Issei resolve things soon. And Azazel already told Roswis about what happened in the club room and about Issei's trauma regarding Rainer, which greatly shocked her. She didn't think Issei could go through such a traumatic experience and still be able to smile. But that's the kind of person Issei is. Azazel summoned another boulder and this time Issei closed his eyes and focused and created a devil magic circle, the same one he used for Dress Breaker. Everyone had thought Issei was going to boost his power, use Balance Breaker, the basic promotions, or the Triana. But much to their surprise, a magic circle formed on Issei's hand and flames appeared out of it. It was Grega. Issei formed the flames into a sphere and shot it at the boulder. The attack made dust go flying and the amount of heat made everyone put up barriers. The only one who wasn't affected by the heat was Ravel. When the dust settled, everyone was shocked by what they saw. In place of the boulder was a crater in the ground. Everyone's jaws dropped, even Azazel was shocked. They turned and looked at Issei, who was innocently scratching the back of his head. Issei. Oops, my bad, sorry. Praetor ignored the surroundings. Everyone. What the hell, Issei? Riaz. Since when are you able to use spells like that? Issei, I've been practicing in secret. Roswis. What kind of spell was that? The heat from the flames did hurt a little bit. Issei. It was a regular fire spell, so this is the difference between demon and devil magic. Had it been a spell powered by devil magic, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Azazel. Well, Ravel is a member of the House of Phoenix and the best fire user here. What's your opinion on Issei's flames? Ravel closed her eyes as she stood there and thought for a moment. Issei. Oh shit, I forgot about Ravel. There's no doubt she sensed my spell was different. Issei wasn't ready for the others to know about Anos or his heritage, not until he became stronger. If word about his new abilities were made known, it would put a huge target on Issei's back, not just from the three factions, but the whole supernatural. And the Cows Brigade would automatically see him as a threat and try to take him down, which would put his parents and Ravel in danger, which was the last thing he needed. Anos. Issei, calm down. Issei. Anos. Anos. You need to have faith in Ravel, she loves you and promised to never betray you, remember? Issei. Yeah, but what if? Issei. Anos is right, you need to calm down. Even if she did say your flames felt different than devil magic, we can just say the flames inside the sacred gear somehow temporarily merged with your spell. Say yeah, you're right guys, thanks, Ravel. They definitely have some potential, they're a little below my flames in terms of power. Due to Issei holding back but the control is spot on, Issei might have a hidden affinity for fire. She gave Issei a slight smirk, Issei knew he'd have to tell her later on. Azazel. Interesting, it could be that, or perhaps having Drake has something to do with it. Either way, good job Issei. Issei walked toward the rest of the group. Riaz. Good job Issei. Issei. Thanks. Riaz felt sad, she hoped Issei would say something more than that, but she was glad that he at least spoke to her. The others also smiled a little. After Issei went back to the group, the others went next: Kiba, Riaz, Akeno, Zenobia, Kaneko, and finally Roswas. Azazel. Well, everyone seems to have improved a bit since our fight with the hero faction, everyone except Kaneko, Gasper, Riaz, and Akeno. I'm not saying this to be hurtful, but if you don't train harder you'll be left behind. By my estimation, Issei has already surpassed Riaz, especially in the recent awakening of his potential. This hurt Riaz and the other girls, but they knew Azazel was right. Issei was definitely the strongest among the group, they understood they'd have to train harder if they wanted to be on par with Issei, and they couldn't rely on him all the time. Proof of that was their fight against Cao Cao and his team. That being said, don't feel sorry for yourselves, instead work hard to become stronger, push till you hit your limits, and when you do break past those limits, all of you have a lot of potential and a lot of room to grow. Think of yourself as a sacred gear. The limitations you are bound by are only binding you because you let them, and when you decide to destroy the shackles of limitations that bind you, then, and only then, do you achieve your balance breaker, pushing you to new heights of power you've never reached before. Like the sacred gear, your body will respond to your emotions, or in this case, your will. Willpower is one of the most crucial things all beings need to survive in this world. It plays a role in how far you go in life, no matter what you do. In fact, it's the main thing every hero needs. Azazel said the last part, looking at Issei intently, before continuing. Your will can push you to do incredible things that you and or others thought to be impossible. Two examples of that are Kiba creating the Holy Devil Sword and Issei combining Albion's power with his sacred gear. Both were thought to be and should have been impossible, but Kiba and Issei made them possible. The only downside to Issei's feat is it cost him some of his life force, shortening his lifespan. But that aside, get to work, and when you feel like you're about to die, keep pushing on until you're tired mentally and physically. Everyone? Yes, sensei. Azazel. Alright, then you will now be split up into pairs: Riaz and Akeno, Zenobia and Kaneko, Asia and Roswas, Issei and Kiba, then finally Ravel and Gasper since Ravel wants to join us. Now let's get started. Riaz was disappointed that she didn't get paired with Issei. She thought she'd have a chance to speak with him, but not this time. And she agreed with Azazel's logic, it made the most sense for her to train with Akeno, she was her queen after all. Not only that, but Issei had surpassed her in brute strength, and soon it might be magic too. It made more sense to have Issei train with Kiba, who could help Issei develop technique, as well as sharpen his speed and precision. Riaz. I'll just have to be patient, hopefully, we'll end up switching partners and he'll be willing to talk. I need to make things right before it's too late. But Issei and Kiba trained with swords that Kiba made from his balance breaker. As their swords clashed, sparks flew. Normally Issei would be struggling by now trying to keep up with Kiba's speed and technique, but his transformation into a dragon had sped up his brain, allowing him to keep up. Kiba. You've gotten faster Issei, and it's only been a week since we last trained, what changed? Issei didn't answer. He and Kiba kept trading blows with their swords, while Issei was deciding if he should tell Kiba about his heritage or not. After a few moments, Issei decided to tell Kiba about his heritage, well, his draconic part, but leave his demon part out. Issei. I've got something important to tell you, but try not freak out. What I'm about to say no one knows yet, not even Ravel. Promise me you won't say anything. Kiba. I promise, so what's going on? Issei. You know how Dragon's Fall nearly killed me. Kiba. Yeah, what about it? Issei. This morning I found out that the curse had destroyed a lot of my body, which resulted in Drake turning parts of my body into that of a dragon. Kiba. What? Issei. That's the same thing I said. Kiba. So what are you exactly now that you're part dragon? Issei. I am 20% human and 40% dragon. Being part dragon gives me an advantage, it enhances all my physical aspects, my brain can process things in nanoseconds, and my magic reserves have been increased. And I have a high affinity for fire. Kiba. Well, I certainly didn't expect this, that definitely gives you a huge advantage, this will help in the raiding game against Saraerg and future battles. Issei. I agree, but the only downside is that dragon slaying weapons are effective against me. However, the stronger I become the more resistance I'll have to dragon slaying weapons, but that won't be for a while. Besides, it's still not enough to take down Saraerg, I need more power. Kiba. What about the Triana? Issei. Well, there's no doubt that the news about the Triana has been made public whether we like it or not, due to the fact that I unlocked it while fighting the hero faction, and I survived going against Cao Cao, who wields the true holy spear, which could even kill Xerxes and the original Devil Kings. Kiba. I agree, Sererg is probably training even harder so he can be ready for the promotions. Issei. Sigh, not only that, but we have a slight problem with the Triana, the stamina consumption is crazy. And I definitely think the bishop form is gonna be the biggest by TCH of the whole Triana combo. Kiba. Probably unlike the Rook and Knight, the bush form needs additional time to charge the blast. We may have to use teamwork to pull this off, that way you can have enough time to charge up the blast and it can make its mark. Issei. Yeah, that could definitely work, that way I don't have to worry about weaving and dodging while trying to change up. But if it doesn't work, we need to come up with another method. It'll be obvious as hell if I'm just standing there, but then again Kiba. What is it? Issei. I'll explain later. Can you meet me later at my place? Be sure to teleport directly to my room. Kiba. Okay, sure, but there's something you should know. Issei. What? Kiba. You're slipping, and just like that Kiba won the duel, taking advantage of Issei being distracted. Issei picked up his sword and they began to duel again with Riaz and Akeno. Riaz and Akeno were firing a barrage of magical attacks at each other while dodging and putting up barriers. Both were trying to overpower the other. They began talking about Issei. Akeno. Riaz, what are we going to do about Issei? He refuses to talk to us and it feels like he's trying to replace us with Ravel. Akeno said while firing a bolt of holy lightning at Riaz. Riaz. I'm not sure, but I think maybe he needs some space, hopefully he'll open back up eventually. Besides, we have a lot going on right now, I shouldn't have tried to force him to confess. She said while dodging Akeno's attack and firing a power of destruction shot which Akeno barely blocked. Akeno. No, Riaz, it isn't your fault, Issei's just too dense to understand how you feel. Maybe if he didn't spend his time on peeping and other perverted things and focused on us, he'd understand how you feel. Riaz. No, that's not true, Akeno. Issei's perverted nature has nothing to do with what happened, besides he said he's given up being a pervert. We all know Issei would never say that. I'm worried I screwed up big time. Akeno. Well, for all we know he could have said that just so he could peep at the girls better also. Riaz. No, Akeno, I seriously doubt that's the case, besides, Kiba vouched for him, remember? And even if he did lie, it still has nothing to do with him confessing to me. After looking back on the situation, I feel like Issei was about to confess to me, but I interrupted him. I feel as though I really messed up. I can feel it deep in my heart, it's like a needle being shoved under my skin. No matter how I review the situation, I could have handled things much better in a mature way, instead of running out of the room crying, but because I didn't, I caused an unnecessary problem. Now he won't speak to anyone but Ravel, Kiba, Azazel, and Roswas. Akeno. Well, he didn't do it the right way. He shouldn't have called you president. I mean, when was the last time he actually called you by your name, Riaz? She said while firing multiple shots of holy lightning while dodging Riaz's attacks, but some of them hit Akeno. Riaz. That's not the point, Akeno. I didn't let him finish what he was going to say. Akeno was silent after that. She saw that Riaz was blaming herself for what happened, which she didn't agree with, but nothing could change the way Riaz felt. The only thing that could is Issei, but he didn't want to talk to them. Despite not agreeing with Riaz's reasoning, she couldn't help but wonder if Riaz was right. Were they the ones at fault? With Ravel and Gasper. Ravel was helping Gasper with magical barriers to help defend himself, as well as helping him with fire spells. Gasper? Ravel sensei. Ravel. There's no need to call me sensei, just call me Ravel. And what is it? Gasper? Do you think Issei hates me? He hasn't spoken to anyone but you, Kiba, Azazel, and Roswas. Ravel. Why do you ask that? She already knew the answer to that, but she wanted to see how he responded, if he truly felt sorry for what he said. Issei wasn't mad at him, but Gasper didn't know that. Gasper? Because I called him a piece of shit, but I didn't mean what I said. It's just, well, Riaz is the president and she saved my life, so I thought I should side with her. But Ravel. Do you regret it? Gasper? I think so, but Ravel. You feel conflicted because you care about both Riaz and Issei. Riaz is the president of the club as well as your master, and she saved your life. And Issei is like an older brother to you that you look up to, and you want him to be proud of you. You're not sure if you made the wrong decision of supporting Riaz and not supporting Issei, right? Gasper nodded. Gasper? So what should I do? Ravel. You tell me, you obviously had something in mind before deciding to ask me if Issei hated you. Gasper. I was wondering if you could get Issei to talk to me. I want to apologize for what I said. I planned on asking Kiba, but I ended up training with you. Ravel sighed a little and closed her eyes, as if she was considering Gasper's response. Ravel. I'll talk to him, but I can't guarantee he'll want to talk to you. If he does, he may not hear you out and allow you to apologize, and he may say some harsh things. Are you prepared for that? She was going to talk to Issei about Gasper anyways, but she decided to test his conviction and see just how serious he was about regretting what he said to Issei. After taking a deep breath, Gasper said in a determined voice. Gasper? Yes, I am. Ravel inwardly smiled. Ravel, good. Gasper, ahem, very well, I'll try to talk to Issei, but as I said before, no guarantees. Gasper? Thank you, Ravel. Ravel, he almost called her sensei again. Ravel. Don't thank me yet. Whether or not Issei forgives you is up to him, now let's get back to training. Gasper? Yes, Ravel. So after a tiresome 7 hours of training, Azazel allowed everyone to stop for the day. During the training they occasionally switched sparring partners, but unfortunately for Riaz, it was never her and Issei sparring, which was intentional due to Azazel. The teleportation circle was prepared and everyone except Kiba and Gasper teleported to the Haidu residence. Kiba and Gasper had teleported to his apartment. After making sure everyone was alright, Azazel prepared to leave, but before he did that he stopped to have a word with Issei while the girls were busy conversing among themselves and Ravel teleported to the Phoenix mansion. Azazel. I know you're poor at using magic, so what exactly happened to you? How are you able to use a spell like that? Issei. It's a secret, you'll have to find out during the rating game. Azazel. Alright kiddo, see you around, and remember if you need anything at all just ask. Issei. Sure thing later. Azazel. Later Azazel teleported to his apartment. After Azazel was gone, Issei began walking up the stairs to his room when Zenobia called out to him, making him stop in his tracks. Zenobia. Issei, where are you going? Asia. Dinner is about to be served, we're having leftovers from last night that I made, aren't you hungry after all that training? Issei. No, I'm not hungry, I'm heading to my room, good night. Kaneko. You're faking, there's no way you're not hungry after all of that training, you always eat dinner when Asia makes it. Issei ignored her comment and continued walking up the stairs. She wanted to say more, but Akeno shook her head and mouthed no, she knew what Riaz would say if she heard them. When Issei reached his room he entered, locked the door, and when he turned around he saw Ravel sitting on the bed waiting on him. Ravel. Is everything alright? Issei. Yeah, it's just Kaneko and the others keep trying to get me to talk to them. It's hard not to blow my cool when I'm around them. Ravel. I know, but you have to try not to focus on them and what they did, lashing out at them won't make anything different. She said as she put Issei's head on her lap and started running her hand through his hair, which pleased Issei greatly. Her hands were gentle and soft, while at the same time they were firm. Even though he was a devil, laying on Ravel's lap felt like heaven for Issei. By the way, there's something important I need to tell you. Issei. What is it? Ravel. During training, Gasper told me he wants to apologize for what he said in the club room. Issei. Well, I didn't expect him to seek forgiveness this soon, I knew he'd come around. I'll talk to him at a later time. Ravel. I understand, but by the way, I want to ask about the fire spell you used earlier, it didn't feel like a normal fire spell. Issei. I promise I will explain everything, but please be patient, I'm waiting on Kiba, he needs to hear this too, he should be here in about 15 minutes. Ravel. Sure, I don't mind waiting. Just then a teleportation circle appeared in the room and out of it came Kiba. Issei sat up so he could explain things to the both of them. Kiba. Hey guys, I'm here. Ravel. Hello, Kiba. Issei. Hey Kiba, thanks for coming, please have a seat. Kiba. Sure thing. Kiba sat in one of the chairs near the bed as Issei began to tell his secret and explain his newfound strength and magical power. Issei. The reason my magical power has increased is because this morning I found out that the dragon's fall curse had destroyed a lot of my body, which resulted in Drag turning parts of my body into that of a dragon. Ravel. What? Issei. Kiba already knows this as I told him during training. Ravel. I certainly didn't expect this, but it makes sense, dragons are the greatest users of fire, being part dragon definitely gives you a huge advantage, this will help in the raiding game against Saraerg and future battles. So what are you exactly, now that you're part dragon? Issei. I am 20% human and 40% dragon. Being part dragon gives me an advantage, it has enhanced all my physical aspects, my brain can process things in nanoseconds, my magical reserves have been increased, and I have a high affinity for fire. The only downside is that dragon slaying weapons are effective against me, however, the stronger I become the more resistance I'll have to dragon slaying weapons, but that won't be for a while. And no, it's still not enough to take down Saraerg, I need more power. Ravel. Hold up, you said you're 20% human and 40% dragon, that's only 60%, what happened to the other 40%? Issei chuckled, he expected Ravel wouldn't miss that, while Kiba on the other hand was wondering how he missed that. He guessed it was because he was a bit too focused on the duel. Issei. That's what I wanted to talk to both of you about. After being turned into that of a dragon my DNA should be 20% human, 40% devil, and 40% dragon, however that is not the case. The reason for that is because I am no longer a devil, I am a demon, my DNA now reads 20% human, 40% dragon, and 40% demon. Ravel and Kiba just sat there looking at Issei, as they were trying to comprehend what he just said. Ravel. I'm confused. Kiba. So am I. Devils and demons are the same thing, people simply sometimes address us differently as either devils or demons, there isn't any difference. So what exactly do you mean? Issei. Actually they aren't, I know it's a lot to take in and it's hard to explain, but please bear with me. Deep breath, demons and devils are not the same thing. I was originally a devil due to Ria supposedly saving me, reviving me into a devil, making me her pawn. But I recently met my ancestor who is a demon and he erased my devil side and turned me into a demon. I met him while I was unconscious after marking Ravel as my mate. Kiba. Issei, what do you mean Ria supposedly saved you? Ravel. And who is your ancestor? How could demons and devils be different? There's no record in history making a distinction between demons and devils. Issei. My ancestor has been with me since birth. Had I not received a summoning paper from Rias that day, my ancestor would have saved me instead of it being Rias. My ancestor name is Anos Voldigid and he is known as the Demon King of Tyranny. Kiba. Ravel. Huh, he's what? Issei. It's better if you see him for yourself. Before Ravel and Kiba could question what Issei meant by seeing him for themselves, Issei put his hands on their heads, focused on sending his thoughts deep inside the sacred gear while using transfer. Bringing Kiba and Ravel with him into the sacred gear. When they arrived in the sacred Issei, Kiba and Ravel saw nothing but white around them. Kiba. Where are we? Issei. You're inside the sacred gear. Both. We're inside the sacred gear. Kiba. Issei, how is this possible? Ravel. And shouldn't Drake be here? I also was expecting a bunch of fire. Issei. First off Kiba, have you forgotten I can make the impossible possible? I proved this during my fight with Vali at the peace conference. Secondly, my ancestor and Drake are training, they should be headed this way by now. Kiba. He must be really strong to train with Drake. Issei. Actually he's stronger than Drake. Kiba. Ravel. He's stronger than Drake. Then they heard the sound of metal colliding. It was Drake and Anos having a sword fight. Ravel. Issei, who are they? Issei. That's Drake in his human form and over there is my ancestor Anos Voldigid. He said while pointing. Then they watched as Anos beat Drake. They were beyond shocked to see such a thing. Before being sealed, Drake and Albion were among the world's top 10 strongest, having ultimate attacks that can annihilate gods. Nearly everyone feared them. Drake human form. Kiba. He beat Drake, he's really strong, my master wouldn't stand a chance against him. An. For those of you who don't know, Kiba's master is Sauji Akita Surzich's knight. Kiba was trained by him. Issei. Yo Anos, Drake. Hey Issei. Issei. Looks like you lost again. Unfortunately yeah, but I'm getting better though. Anos. It's good to see you Issei, I see you brought your friends, it's nice to meet you Kiba and Ravel. Kiba. It's good to meet you too. Ravel. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Anos. So I assume they're ready to train as well. Issei. Not exactly, I wanted to introduce them to you, I've already explained my heritage and they have a lot of questions. Anos. I see. Ravel. Excuse me, Anos, I don't mean to be rude, but who and what are you? Anos. My name is Anos Voldigid, I am the Demon King of Tyranny. Kiba. That's the same thing that Issei said, but we've never heard of you. Anos. Of course, you haven't, I'm actually from another world. Kiba and Ravel blinked and looked at each other. Ravel. Issei, is he serious? Issei nodded. Anos. I expected you'd respond this way. He walked towards them and put his hands on their heads and he showed them the history of his world. They couldn't believe what they saw, but they took it surprisingly well. Anos. Do you believe me now? Kiba. Ravel. Yes. Anos. Good, now I'm sure you're wondering what's the difference between demons and devils. As I already told Issei, and from there Anos began explaining everything that he already explained to Issei. Chapter 5. After Anos finished explaining everything to Kiba and Ravel, they asked him multiple questions which Anos happily answered. Anos. So do you have any more questions? Kiba. No, I don't think so, but it's a lot to take in. Ravel. I feel the same, and to think that there are other universes besides ours. This means that there are different timelines as well, and there are different versions of us that follow different paths, right? Anos. Correct, and before you ask, no, there is not an evil me out there. The only reason there are multiple Anos Voldigids in the universe is because, as I previously told you, the original Anos cloned himself. The reason for this is that I am considered a misfit, something that should not exist. The power I have is unfathomable, I am boundless, and nothing is impossible for me. No matter what comes up I always find a way. Issei is similar to me, which is why his source is similar to mine. Kiba. So you mean Issei is a misfit as well, and he's the only one of himself in existence? Anos. Yes and no, Issei is indeed a misfit like me, however, the difference between the two of us is that Issei's power isn't multiversal, meaning that Issei's power does not affect the multiverse like I can. If I wanted to, not that I would, but if I wanted to I could destroy the Silver Sea. The Issei in this world may someday reach that height of power, But the different Issei hiatus in the multiverse aren't at that level. Having a source like mine, that alone is enough to make Issei a misfit. Ravel. That's incredible, and here we thought Great Red was the strongest being in existence. Anos. Great Red is indeed strong, but he's not the strongest being in existence, that title belongs to me, and me alone. Issei. Who's the second strongest being in existence? Anos. That's a topic for another time, we're getting off point here. How would you two like to become demons and be trained by me? Kiba. You can do that, you can turn us into demons too. Anos. Of course, like I already told you, nothing is impossible for me. Ravel. Will you erase our devil side as you did to Issei? I'd prefer to keep some of mine if possible. Anos. Sure thing, how does 50% sound? You'll be 50% devil and 50% demon. Ravel. I'm fine with that. Anos. And what about you, Kiba? Kiba. I want my devil side erased, but I want to keep my humanity, and what about our evil pieces? Won't Riaz and the other devils know something is up? Anos. No, you'll still have your evil pieces, but I'll fill them with demonic energy instead of devil energy. I'll also mask your demonic heritage, they won't suspect a thing. It's why you didn't notice a change in Issei even though you were right next to him. Kiba. Alright, I'm ready. Ravel. Me too. Anos stretched out his hand like this and completely erased Kiba's devil side while erasing only 50% of Ravel's devil side. Anos. It's done, Kiba, you are 50% human and 50% demon, and Ravel, you are 50% devil and 50% demon. You now are both my descendants. Ravel. That's it. I thought something dramatic was going to happen, like a rush of power or something, but I don't feel any different. Kiba. Yeah, Kiba stopped speaking as he and Ravel felt their demonic power beginning to surge through their veins. Ravel. What is this? I've never felt so much power before. Kiba. This must be the result of becoming demons and having Anos' DNA, it's incredible. I feel amazing, like I could slash an army of 2,000 people with no problem. Anos. It will take some time to adjust to your demonic powers, especially you, Ravel, which is why you're going to receive training. I've sealed a portion of your power until you're able to control it. You two, you'll be trained by my subordinates, and I'll also give you both of you sources. He fixed their sources and established a link between the boosted gear, Kiba, and Ravel. Then two figures appeared. One to them was a young man with shoulder-length white hair and blue eyes. He wore a long coat version of the Demon King Academy uniform, as his uniform consisted of black and red tones like most uniforms for pureblood students. His attire consists of his uniform, which has a black belt surrounding it, as well as his badge on his left shoulder, black pants and shoes. The man's name was Leigh Gransley. Leigh Gransley, aka the hero Kanan, what he looked like in the mythical age. The other figure that appeared was a beautiful woman who had long blonde hair with ribbons and twin tails, blue eyes, and a fairly short yet well-developed frame. She wore a uniform that consisted of red and black tones and a hexagram badge. She also wore two hair ribbons that are colored black with yellow highlights, long black socks that leave her upper thighs exposed and are held by red straps, as well as black high heel boots. Her name was Sasha Necron. Sasha Necron Voldigid, aka the Witch of Destruction, aka Burnu, the Goddess of Destruction. Sasha. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Sasha Necron Voldigid. Leigh. My name is Leigh Gransley, I'm also the hero Kanan, but my friends call me Leigh. It's nice to meet you. Issei. My name is Issei Haidu. Ravel. My name is Ravel Phoenix. Kiba. My name is Kiba Udo. My name is Drake Y. Gotch, it's nice to meet you. Anos. Sasha is one of my wives, and Leigh also is one of my subordinates, as well as one of my best friends. Starting tomorrow we'll begin your training. We'll work on magic, stamina, swordsmanship, and physical strength, which I see a lot of devils lack. Issei, you will continue to train with me, Kiba you'll train with Leigh, and Ravel you'll train with Sasha. Kiba, magic isn't your strong suit, but I have no doubt that will change. Ravel, you're quite talented with magic, you have immense potential. Sasha will train you starting from the ground up, also you and Kiba will learn martial arts and strengthen your body and stamina. We will begin your training tomorrow, you need to get some rest, you've had a long day. Issei. Now that you mention it, yawn, I do feel sleepy, today really drained me. Anos. There's one more thing I need to tell you, and it's very important. Issei. What is it? Anos. When I gave you my DNA that made you my descendants, normally you'd inherit a different last name added onto your surname, but because of your potential and how close we are, I will allow you to have my last name Voldigid. Making you Issei Haidu Voldigid, Ravel Phoenix Voldigid, and Kiba Udo Voldigid. Issei. Issei Haidu Voldigid sounds good, I like it. Kiba. So do I. Ravel. Ravel Phoenix Haidu Voldigid, it sounds good. Ravel blushed a little when she said it. There were times when she'd forgotten that she had to explain to her family that she was married to Issei, and she wondered how they would react. Issei. Well, I'm tired, see you guys later. Sasha. See you guys tomorrow. Leigh. Bye, it was nice to meet you. Ravel. Bye. Kiba. Bye, it was nice to meet you as well. Their vision turned white, and when it returned to normal they were outside of the sacred gear, inside of Issei's room, still sitting on the bed. Kiba looked at the clock and saw only 5 minutes had passed, although it felt longer than that. Kiba. That was incredible, and it's only been 5 minutes, but it feels like it's been longer than that. Ravel. I was thinking the same thing. Issei. That's a part of how the sacred gear works, time flows differently in there, what exactly is the difference I'm not sure yet, I'll have to ask Anos and Drake. Kiba. Well, I've gotta get going, Gasper is waiting for me back at the apartment. Ravel. Gasper moved in with you? Kiba. Yeah, he moved in today, he said it was lonely living at Orc by himself, I offered to let him move in with me a few days before the girls berated Issei. Issei. That's good, by the way, can one of you bring him to the rooftop tomorrow? I want to talk to him without Riaz and the others being around. Ravel. Sure thing. Kiba. Sure. Kiba formed a teleportation circle and teleported back to his apartment. After that, Issei and Ravel changed into their sleepwear and went to sleep. Meanwhile, inside the sacred gear, Drake was asleep and Anos was deep in thought when suddenly, he felt an evil presence harboring malicious intent spying on him. Anos. So you're still alive. I thought you were obliterated, but it seems you've somehow managed to survive. Anos waited a few seconds to see if the evil presence was going to reveal itself or speak, not going to respond. It's fine, you'll be dead soon anyway, so it won't matter. The next day, Issei woke up, yawned, and stretched a little, then he was about to wake Ravel up, but she wasn't there, this confused Issei a little. Issei. I guess she's at Phoenix Mansion again, probably to avoid suspicion. If Riaz and the other girls found out I'm married to her, all hell would break loose. And I really don't want to deal with that, speaking of which, I need to get an engagement ring for Ravel before we go to meet her parents, well, my in-laws. I'll see what I come across, or perhaps Anos and Drake have some ideas. Ravel had actually gone downstairs early in the morning about 5 a.m. to make breakfast before the others woke up. In order to avoid suspicion, she ate some breakfast before leaving, and she left a tray on the desk in Issei's room for him. After making up the bed, Issei noticed a tray with a note on it, saying that it was from Ravel. Issei smiled, grabbed his clothes, and went to the bathroom so he could shower and get ready for the day. When he came back from the shower, he ate the breakfast Ravel had made, which consisted of apple cinnamon pancakes covered with maple syrup, bacon, scrambled eggs, fried potatoes seasoned well with onions and cilantro, and a slice of apple pie. After finishing the apple pie, Issei once again jumped out of the window and used his dragon wings to slow down his fall. Issei. Man, that was delicious. I have to make sure I thank Ravel for the breakfast, it's better than what the cafe makes, not that it's nasty or anything. But that aside, I need to become stronger, not just to beat Saraerg, but to protect Ravel and my parents, and so I can beat Cao Cao and Volley. Even though I'm not a devil anymore and light-based attacks barely feel like a slight tickle, the true holy spear can still harm me if I'm not careful. That spear killed Jesus and can kill gods. I'm nowhere near that level, I'm not even at Mao class, so I can imagine what it'll do to me, and come to think of it, I don't know if Cao Cao has a balance breaker or not, and if he does, how powerful is it? Besides, I don't want to rely on Drake and Anos to bail me out every time I have a problem, I'll never truly grow if I rely on them for everything. By the time Issei finished talking to himself, he had arrived at the school gate. This time he didn't see Kiba or Ravel, but as he was heading towards the school building, he felt something coming towards him and he jumped aside, simultaneously dodging something. Who or what was trying to hit him? It was none other than the Kendo Club with their bamboo swords. Issei, what was that for? Hadis. Don't play dumb with us, you filthy pervert, stop dodging and get what you deserve. Murayama. Repent, you pervert. Issei. I haven't done anything and I told you I'm not a pervert. Earl 1. Liar, we found your camera posted up in the shower room. It was recording and sending the video somewhere. Earl 2, you saw us completely naked and you probably plan on selling the video. That's unforgivable now. Issei dodged again. Thanks to his training with Anos and his draconic heritage, his brain moved faster than their brains and their attacks. It was like slow motion to him. Issei. What camera? Murayama. So you still want to feign ignorance, fine, then snapped her fingers. Girls, after she snapped her fingers, one of the Kendo girls stepped forward and gave Murayama the camera. See, it says properly of self-proclaimed harem king Issei Haidu, and it has your address, it even says it inside of the camera and in the software, so your lies won't work. Sure enough, it did say properly of self-proclaimed harem king Issei Haidu, but Issei could only fassip him, he knew exactly who did it. Issei, those idiotic backstabbing bastards. Hadis, you might as well give up lying, the evidence is plain as day, we know it was you, and normally we'd just beat you for it, but today is an exception. Issei. Huh? Murayama. That's right, we're going to beat the living shit out of you until you tell us who or where you sent the video, and then we're going to beat you some more, and until you go limp. They looked at Issei with hatred in their eyes, they also gave off a murderous aura, right now they wanted nothing more than to kill Issei. Issei felt several cold shivers up his spine as the kendo club surrounded him, leaving him with no escape, and he couldn't afford to use magic, not with so many people around, and if he used his supernatural strength, he'd accidentally snap the bones in their weak bodies. He was running out of options. Hadis. Any last words, Issei Haidu? We're going to torture and bear you to death. She said as she and Murayama stepped closer to Issei, dragging their swords along the ground like two mad serial killers who just escaped from Arkham Asylum. Issei, it wasn't me, I swear on my ancestor Anos Voldigid. Murayama. Wrong answer, book you and your ancestor, what you've done is despicable, degrading, and unforgivable. We doubt God would forgive for your sins, we sure wouldn't. You'd better be glad we're not God or your soul would already be in hell, you bastard son of Lucifer. Hats. You horrendous perverted beast, you're going to pay for all the times you've peeped on us. Issei was trying to figure out what to do with no other choice. He restored to a last decision, one which he really didn't like. Run, he jumped over the kendo girls in a single bound, leaving the men as students recording the scene awestruck. Earl 4, don't just stand there after him. The kendo club proceeded to chase after Issei as he ran towards the school building, when suddenly he fell into a hole about 10 feet deep. Issei. What the hell? Hadis. We dug it in the event you decide to run. Issei. When the hell did you have time to do that? Even the other students were baffled, especially the male population became more afraid of the kendo club. Murayama. You can think about that later in the afterlife, that is. But Anos and Drake. Anos. This is quite interesting, I wonder how Issei will get out of this. Should we help him? Anos, no, you heard him yourself, he doesn't want to rely on us for everything. You're right, popcorn and ginger ale. Anos. Sure thing, thanks. Anos and Drake sat down, enjoying some fresh caramel popcorn, and continued to watch Issei. Back with Issei. Issei was trying to figure how the hell he was going to get out of this situation. While the kendo club attacks wouldn't hurt people, would start to wonder why he wasn't swollen from said attacks, which would lead to Sona and Rias getting involved, which is something he really wanted to avoid. Especially dealing with Rias, which would lead to him talking to her and somehow, some way, talking to the other girls. Issei tried to talk his way out of the situation. He was completely surrounded and for some reason he couldn't contact Drake or Anos. And he didn't want to risk harming the kendo girls. It was hard to hold back his strength. His current strength was nearing a low ultimate class devil. Issei. Hey can't we talk this out? Earl 5, what's to talk about? Issei. Isn't 30 against 1 unfair? Earl 6. So what we. Hadis. Girls, he's right, 30 against 1 isn't fair, I say we give him a chance. Murayama. What? But she was about to retort, but then she saw the mischievous smirk on Cadis's face. She was up to something. Issei. What kind of chance? I don't like the look on your faces. Earl 7. Silence, pervert. Murayama. Get out of the hole now. The kendo club stepped back from the hole while still surrounding it so Issei could get out of the hole, but they didn't let their guard down, worried Issei might try to do something perverted to them. Hadis. Here, catch. She tossed Issei a bamboo sword. Issei. Huh. Hadis. Here are the rules. If you manage to block all of our attacks we let you go, but if not, we get to beat you to a pulp. Sounds fair, right? Issei. Your definition of fair needs some work, it sucks, I accept, but first, let me the first rule. Murayama. Change it how? Issei. When I win you'll hear me out. Hadis. That's all you wanted to change. Fine, then let's begin. The kendo club tried to attack Issei at the same time, only for him to jump over most of them and then deflect their attacks without much effort. He managed to knock the swords off from the hands of some of the girls. It was clear Issei had the advantage, even though he was trying to hold back as much as possible. As the one-sided fight continued, eventually the whole school except the teachers came to watch, and Issei, despite clearly having the upper hand in this fight, which greatly shocked everyone, the kendo club refused to give up. They got close to hitting Issei several times, but their attacks didn't make contact, as the old saying goes, close, but no cigar. Finally it came down to just the captains of the kendo club, Cadis and Murayama. They were breathing heavily, their stamina was nearly depleted, and the other girls were sitting on the ground from exhaustion or having their sword knocked out of their hands. Issei. I don't mean to sound rude, but you should give up, you clearly have no hope of winning. Hadis. Never, not in a million years. We refuse to lose to a perverted beast like you. Murayama. You're going to pay for your sins. Cadis, let's go. Let's show this perverted beast our almighty strength. Both of them summoned all of their strength and charged at Issei, while being encouraged by the other members of the kendo club, letting out a war cry. Issei simply sighed and closed his eyes. Everyone thought he was giving up, but much to their surprise, he blocked both of their swords at once. Murayama. How? This can't be. Hadis. Impossible. Issei. If that's the best you can do, don't claim to be almighty, that's blasphemy. Using his sword, he knocked back both of their swords, making them fall toward the ground, but before they could, Issei caught both of them. However, it was quite the awkward situation for Cadis and Murayama. They were blushing hard due to the way Issei was holding them, though it wasn't in a perverted way or anything. They blushed even more when Issei leaned in. The whole school thought he was attempting to kiss them, but instead he said, "Issei. I win," after saying that he pulled them up to their feet, but they were still a blushing mess. "So now that you lost, will you finally hear me out?" Hadis. "Yes, Murayama. As much as we don't like it that you won, a swordswoman must keep her word despite the outcome." Endo girls. "No, the captain's lost. A pervert must have cheated somehow." Murayama. "Unfortunately no, he did not." Sona. "What is going on? Don't you all have classes to get to?" Sona said in a sharp tone that made everyone afraid. Tsubaki. Why is no one answering Sona's questions? And Issei and the kendo club. Sona. Hide you, what did you do? Issei. Wait, I can explain. You see, what happened was. Sona. Silence, come with us so I can decide your punishment. This was obvious, the result of your perverted antics. Issei. I'm screwed. Hadis. Kaichu, wait, it wasn't Issei's fault, it was ours. This caught both Sona and Tsubaki off guard. The kendo duo were trying to protect Issei from punishment. Sona. Please explain. Kadis and Murayama then explained to Sona and Tsubaki what happened and how they didn't give Issei the chance to explain himself. Sona and Tsubaki took a look at the camera and were disgusted by what they saw. They turned and looked at Issei. Sona. Haidu, everything on the camera is in accordance with the girl's accusations. How do you explain this? Issei. It's quite simple really, but would you let me see the camera so I can explain? Sona. Very well, but I'm watching your every move. Issei. First off, I already know who did it. It was Motohama and Mitsuda, and they had some help from some other guys. I'm willing to bet those idiots have left some clues. They were never the brightest out of the three of us, and here, take a look. Issei showed them a part of the camera where deleted images or videos are stored just in case they were deleted accidentally, but the perverted idiots didn't know about it. Sona and Tsubaki now understood that Issei was telling the truth. The kendo club felt ashamed for not hearing Issei out, despite the old saying that a person is innocent unless proven guilty. And you can clearly see it wasn't me who put the camera in the shower room, and the other guys somehow had access to the shower room, allowing them to sneak in and put the camera in the shower room. But I have some good news. Murayama. What's that? Issei. You don't have to worry about those idiots posting the video online. They'll try to sell copies of it to the highest bidders. The kendo club let out a sigh of relief. Sona. The video was sent somewhere, can you track it? Issei. There's no need, the camera sent the video on a short radio-like signal. It's the closest thing you could get to Wi-Fi without it being exactly like it. Meaning that those idiots are on school grounds. And I think I know where they're at. I am gonna make those idiots pay for what they did, thinking they could frame me and get away with it. Tsubaki. Wait, hold on, how do we know you're not a part of this? Why would they want to frame you? Issei. Because they're jealous of me. They've been jealous ever since I joined the orc, and once I said I wasn't a pervert anymore, and Kiba confirmed it, they couldn't take it. Sometime yesterday they asked if I was gay, which I replied no. After that they tried to convince me to join the perverted trio again, which I declined, and I told them maybe if they stopped peeking, they'd be taken seriously and perhaps even get a girlfriend. They then walked off saying something about I'd regret it. And this is more than likely what they meant. Now come on before they get the chance to run away. As Issei began walking in the direction where Motohama, Matsuda and the other two boys were, Tsubaki and the kendo club looked at Sona for approval regarding if they should follow Issei or not. Sona sighed and nodded her head. She decided to trust Issei just this once. After all, he had found some evidence that indicates that he wasn't a part of the other boys' plan. Sona. Why are the rest of you still standing around? Get to your classes or I'll give you triple homework. In what seemed like the blink of an eye, the school grounds became like a ghost town. Sigh. Now that that's out of the way, let's follow Haidu. Don't worry if he's lying, I'll allow you to beat him to a pulp. The kendo club simply nodded. After walking for about 10 minutes, Sona and the rest of the girls finally saw Issei, who was hiding behind some bushes on a hill. They hid behind the bushes as well, and sure enough they saw Motohama, Mitsuda, and the two other boys looking at a small laptop. When the girls noticed where the boys were situated, they couldn't help but faceap them hard. Tsubaki. Are they really that stupid? Sona. It would appear so. The boys weren't that far from the kendo club building, about 500 feet. Murayama. So what do we do? Hadis. Yeah, we're all too tired to chase them, and even if we catch some of them, one of them will somehow escape. Sona. You make an excellent point. Sona and Tsubaki began considering calling the rest of the peerage, using some magic to enhance their bodies a little, or trip the perverted boys and erase some of the girls' memories if needed. Then Issei spoke up. Issei, just leave it to me, I got it. Hadis. Haidu, you better not mess this up or we'll beat the crap out of you. Murayama. And don't even try to look at that laptop. Issei. I won't, I promise. Kaichu. Sona. Go for it. Haidu will back you up. Issei. You and Tsubaki go left when you hear me call their names, and the kendo girls go right. You should be able to catch most of them, and I'll deal with the straggler. Issei began walking down the hill and called out to Motohama and Mitsuda. Issei. Time for you damn bastards to pay for what you did. Motohama, Mitsuda, what's up? Mitsuda. Oh shit, it's Issei on. The perverts closed the small laptop, got up and ran, only to be blocked off by Sona, Tsubaki, and the kendo girls. One of the guys tried to escape with the laptop. He was one of the fastest runners in school, but Issei was faster. He caught the guy with ease, while making sure the laptop didn't fall and break. Having caught the straggler, Issei dragged him on the ground by one leg toward Sona and the girls. Issei flung the pervert and he landed on top of Mitsuda and Motohama, who were sitting on the ground. Issei. There's the trash and here's the laptop, boys. No damn you hide you. Much to their dismay, Issei handed the laptop to Sona and she and the kendo club looked through it and sure enough they found the video. Sona deleted it, wiped the hard drive and closed the laptop. Sona. After examining the laptop, it has been confirmed that you four are responsible for the camera being put up in the kendo club shower room. As a result, the video has been deleted and so has the hard drive. You shall be punished for your actions. Girls, how would you like their punishment to be handled? After they've been given their punishment, I'll have their memories of what they saw on the video wiped. I happen to know someone great with hypnosis. The girls huddled together and began discussing what to do to the perverts, while Mitsuda, Motohama, and the other two boys looked on in fear. Hadis. After careful consideration, we've decided to let Issei decide their punishment. You four involved him in this as well, trying to frame him. Boys. What? Mitsuda, Motohama. Issei, you son of a bitch. Issei. Shut up. They shut up instantly. He had unknowingly used a little bit of compulsion magic. Girls, while I appreciate the offer, are you sure about this? Kendo club. Yes. Issei. Kaichu. Sona. Feel free, just don't kill them. I'll have someone come pick them up when you're done. And I'll explain to the teachers why you're all late. Issei. Thank you, Kaichu. So the kendo club left and Issei beat the shit out of the four perverts. By the time he was down, their faces were swollen and almost unrecognizable. After that, he made his way to the classroom and everyone was staring at him. Issei ignored them and sat down in his seat. Then Kiba came in. It was 5 minutes before the class would begin. He was usually early. Issei. Where the hell were you this morning? Kiba. Me and Gasper woke up late and we had to stop at the cafe for breakfast. We saw Ravel there. She said she was busy doing some things for her mother. In case you were wondering, she forgot to tell you. Issei. Well, that makes sense. Kiba. Did something happen this morning? Everyone is staring at us. Issei. I'm surprised you haven't heard. Motohama, Mitsuda, and two other perverted idiots tried to frame me, so I ended up having to duel the entire kendo club just so they could hear me out. Sona and Tsubaki got involved. And the end result was me beating the shit out of the four of them. I held back as much as I could though. Kiba. Sorry for not being here. I could have helped you avoid having Fro go through all that trouble. Issei. Don't sweat it. I'm just glad Riaz and the girls didn't show up. I'd rather not have to talk to them. At that moment, Zenovia and Asia came and they saw Issei. But he didn't spare them a glance. Zenovia, having enough of this, was about to walk over and talk to Issei. But unfortunately for her, and fortunately for Issei, the bell rung. Anos. Issei. Issei. Anos. Where the hell were you and Drake this morning when I needed some advice? Anos, you said you didn't want to rely on us to bail you out every time you have a problem, otherwise you'll never truly grow if you rely on us for everything, remember? Issei, mentally facepalmed, forgot that he said that. Even though he wasn't speaking to them, it was still directed towards them. Issei, yeah, I completely forgot about that. Anos, either way, you did an excellent job getting out of that unfortunate situation without using magic or your supernatural strength. You managed to solve your problem without harming anyone or lashing out at them for attacking you without letting you explain. I commend you for that. So do I. We dragons are very emotional creatures and you managed to control your emotions. I am proud of you, Issei. Issei. Thanks, bros. Anos, by the way, there is something important we need to discuss. Issei, what is it? Anos, do you recall when you told those idiots to shut up, how they shut up instantly? Don't you find something about that a little odd? Issei, now that you mention it, yeah, it was weird. Anos, that happened because you had unknowingly used a little bit of compulsion magic. Issei, compulsion magic. Anos, my words are naturally imbued with magic power, and as such, I can control the target's actions against their will by merely speaking. This ability is always active and can also bypass anti-magic properties. You, Issei, accidentally used this ability on those perverts. Issei, damn, that's powerful. Anos, it is, however, it will not work on being stronger than you. Also, you'll need to learn to control this ability or it will spell disaster in the future. I'll help you, of course. Issei, thanks for letting me know. By the way, how's Drake's training going? Excellent. Albion won't know what hit him. I can't wait to see the look on his ridiculous face. It'll be priceless, hahaha. But more importantly, we're closer to achieving the goal. Issei, really, that's great. I can't wait until it's complete. Anos, well, it won't be long now, but Issei, now you've got class to attend to. Issei, yeah, I know, but I don't really need this stuff. I mean, I have you and Drake. Anos, well, that's true. Think about how your parents will feel if your grades drop even more. You should be trying to bring your grades up to a tremendous degree that the other students can't reach. Say yeah, you're right, I'll head back to class, and to be honest I forgot about my parents, but I'm glad they're still on vacation. I'm not ready to explain everything to them yet. Anos, don't worry, when the time comes to explain everything I'm sure they'll understand. No matter what you become, you'll always be their child, and they'll always love you no matter what. Say thanks Anos, later guys. Anos Drag later. Time skip at lunch. After their biology class, Say and Kiba made their way to the roof to eat lunch, then they saw Ravel waiting for them with Gasper. When they heard the door to the rooftop open, Gasper and Ravel turned around and saw Issei and Kiba. Ravel smiled, and Gasper tried his best to conjure up a fake smile, but he was extremely nervous seeing Issei. Ravel. Hey guys. Gasper. Hi. Kiba. Hey, what up? Issei. Hi, it's good to see you guys. How are you doing, Gasper? Gasper. Gee, goody, replied as Issei and Kiba walked towards them and sat down. Then the four of them began to eat lunch. It was silent for a few minutes until Ravel nudged Gasper's shoulder, telling him to speak up. Gasper. Hey Issei senpai. Issei. Yeah Gasper, what's up? Gasper. Well see you Issei. Yeah. Gasper. Deep breath. I want to apologize for what I said in the club room the other day. You're not a piece of shit. I am. I was too much of a coward to try to say anything to defend you when Akeno senpai and the others berated you. I'm sorry for calling you a piece of shit and not standing by you. You're an amazing person, Issei senpai, you're like a big brother to me, and I hope you can forgive me for what I did. I sided with Rias because she saved my life, and she's our master as well as the president, but still, I should have said something. I didn't even go after you to try to see how you were feeling. I'm sorry, I hope you can forgive me, Issei senpai. I understand if you hate me. After saying his speech without stuttering, Gasper was silent again, fearing the worst. He was worried Issei hated him and was going to lash out on him. After Issei finished his pot roast sandwich, he spoke. Issei. Gasper. Gasper. Why yes. Issei. I'm not mad at you, Gasper, neither do I hate you, I never have. I already knew why you sided with Rias, and I respected your decision. If I was in your shoes I would have done the same thing. Gasper. Really? Issei. Yes, after all, Rias saved your life, took you in, gave you a home, and treated you like family. She tried to fulfill your every need, and she didn't force you to do anything you didn't want to do, except meeting us of course, which I'm glad of. Gasper, I could never hate you. I've always wanted siblings, and unfortunately my mother had 2 miscarriages before I was born. However, you and Kiba filled that gap. I couldn't be happier to have a little brother like you. You're a very cool person to be around and you're fun. Gasper. I am. Issei. Totally, serious, but bro, the cross-dressing thing has to go, it's disturbing. Gasper. I know, I'll try to stop. Issei. That aside, there's something important you need to know. Gasper. What is it? Issei. Before I tell you, you have to promise you won't tell anyone without my permission. Gasper. I promise. Issei. Goody put up a sound barrier so anyone eavesdropping couldn't hear what he was about to say. Gasper, the day I was berated by Akeno and the other girls I nearly died. Gasper spit out his drink. He was shocked by this sudden revelation. Gasper. What, how, why? Issei. Gasper, do you remember the fight I had with Riser Phoenix, Ravel's brother? Gasper. Yes, you gave up your arm by letting Drake turn it into a dragon, then you unlocked Balance Breaker for a little while, but it fell apart and you had to use holy objects to win. Issei. That's right, you see, Gasper, giving Drake my arm made me part dragon. We dragons are very emotional beings, and when our lover or lovers betray us we catch Dragon's Fall. Gasper. Dragon's Fall, what's that? Issei. It's a curse, and when we get it we begin to cough up blood, then our body will weaken to the point that it is paralyzed, then we will die slowly. Unfortunately, I happened to get the curse. Gasper was horrified. He couldn't believe his big brother suffered such an experience, then something hit him. Gasper. How are you still alive then? Issei. Before I answer that, you need to understand how I got the curse in the first place. The day Akeno and the girls berated me for not confessing to Rias, even though she cut me off as I was about to tell her that she's the woman of my life and I loved her. When I ran out of the club room I heard her say something that broke my heart. She whispered to herself and said, I wish I never revived you. Drake heard it too. Gasper. Why would she say that after everything you've done for us in the underworld? Issei. I'm not sure, but I don't plan on asking anytime soon. I've got more important things to deal with. But back to your other question of how I'm still alive. To fully negate the curse and restore my life force, I had to find a mate and mark her. Marking someone is when usually a male dragon marks a female as an act of claiming her as his. This is done by taking small amounts of each other's blood and giving her some of his draconic energy. Marking someone you love or don't love does not matter. Attraction between both the person marking and the marked person will happen, which means marking can happen forcefully as well. The male and female will also influence each other slightly. Basically, I had to marry someone in order to survive. Rias and the others don't know yet. Gasper. Who did you marry? Issei. Ravel. Gasper. Ravel Gasper couldn't believe what he just heard, it was too many surprises in one day. Ravel removed the concealment Magicanos placed on her mate mark and Gasper saw Ravel's mark on her neck. Say. Gasper, what you're looking at is Ravel's mate mark. Gasper. How come Ravel agreed to this even though you've barely known each other for that long? Say. Well, as you already know, I was dying, and as for Ravel, that's for her to tell. Gasper looked at Ravel. Ravel. Gasper, the truth is I didn't come to Kuo just so I could learn about the human world and how to interact with them, I came here because of Issei. To be honest, when we first met I didn't think anything of Issei, I thought he was nothing but a low-ranking perverted devil who happened to have the boosted gear, but he proved me wrong. Seeing how he courageously fought for Rias both times and defeating my brother, I started to develop feelings for him. He reminded me of the stories the servants used to tell me as a child about the heroes and knights that risked everything to protect the ones they loved. And his great deeds only made those feelings stronger. It's because of that and who he is as a person that I love him. Even though we're married without knowing each other for that long, regardless of the mate mark influence, I love Issei and I have no regrets. Gasper. Well, I'm happy for you too, congratulations, and I'm sorry you had to suffer like that, Issei, but what about Surzich's and Ria's family, how will they react? Issei. I'm not sure about Ria's parents, but Surzich's and Grafia already know, he made me a free devil. Gasper. Really? Issei. Yes, he said he wanted to apologize for Ria's actions and he wouldn't let it go if I didn't let him apologize. So I asked him to turn me into a free devil, which brings me to another question. Gasper, how would you like to join my peerage when I become a high-ranking devil? I understand if you choose to stay with Rias. Gasper. No, I want to go with you, big brother. I know Rias saved my life, but I want to stick with you. Issei, I'm glad to hear that, and there's something else I want to discuss with you. Do you know how I became a devil? Gasper. Yes, you were killed by a fallen angel because you had a sacred gear. Issei. Yes, but that's not the full story. Gasper, what do you mean? Issei. Well, it is known throughout the supernatural that I became a devil due to being murdered by a fallen angel. How I was killed isn't this confused Gasper even more. The fallen angel that killed me, her name was Rainer, but she introduced herself to me as Yuma Mono. It was a day after school, I was standing on the bridge as the sun was setting, then that's when she spoke to me. She wore a school uniform I had never seen before and asked me out on a date claiming to be into me. I instantly should have known something was up, but my perversion blinded me. Anyways, the date went perfectly and for once it looked like things were going in my favor and I really did love her, even if it just met. Hell, I was willing to let go of perversion if that's what it meant to get her to love me and for us to be together, but. Gasper. But. Issei. Reality is a bitch, Gasper, it's the main thing everyone in life learns at some point. Deep sigh. At the end of the date we ended up at a park and she asked me to do something special to commemorate our date. I said sure, then she leaned forward and whispered into my ear, will you die for me? Those words still haunt me to this day. Then she stabbed me in the gut with a light spear. Luckily Ria's familiar gave me a flyer that day. I happened to be thinking of her as I was dying. I looked at my hand and it was covered in blood the color of crimson. It reminded me of Ria's hair which summoned her. Then as you know she resurrected me and the rest is history. But the main thing is that when the girls berated me and Ria said she regrets reviving me into a devil, it triggered Dragon's Fall. Gasper couldn't help but cry after healing the traumatic experience his brother had to suffer. Issei pulled Gasper into a hug. Gasper. How can you do it? Issei. What do you mean? Gasper. How can you be so strong and continue going forward after everything you've been through? Issei. I'm not gonna lie, Gasper, it still hurts, what I've been through, what the girls did, it has deeply emotionally scarred my heart, hell just thinking about it hurts. But I have a great support system, my friends and my beautiful wife. It's because of you guys that I've been able to slowly move forward. However, Gasper, you need to understand that there will be times when there is no one to help you or care for you, but you have to be willing to move forward and never give up, it's part of the reason I'm alive today. And also remember this, Gasper, remember it well, true power lies not only in one's strength, but in one's way of being. You must never give up, Gasper, even in the face of death. Gasper. I promise to always remember that, Issei-senpai. Issei. Good, don't forget your promise. Now Ravel, it seems like you have something important to say. Ravel. Yes, I recently heard there is a conference for the raiding game being held in the underworld today. You guys and Sarerg are supposed to attend the conference. Kiba. Rias didn't tell us about that. Issei. That's because we've been avoiding them. But either way we better get going, and Gasper, I want you to pretend this conversation never happened, got it? Gasper. Yes, big brother. Issei. Good. And so they made their way to the club room where the rest of the Orc and Azazel's discussing some things. When the door opened they all looked up and saw Issei, Kiba, Ravel and Gasper come in. Rias felt disappointed when she saw that Issei was with Ravel. Each time she saw the two of them near each other, her heart began to ache more and more. The rest of the girls excluding Roswis were furious that Issei was hanging out with Ravel and still ignoring them and Riaz. If Kaneko was showing her Nekomata heritage, you'd see her cattail swishing side to side. They were also confused as to why Gasper was with them, considering he called Issei a piece of shit, deciding to break the tension. Azazel spoke up. Azazel. Yo Issei, I'm glad you guys are here. I was just about to send someone to get you, not sure if you know, but today there is a conference for the upcoming rating game against Sarayer being held today. This rating game has caught a lot of attention not just from the three factions, but the other factions as well. Riaz, if you'd care to explain the rest. Riaz. We may have some issues with our strategies. Tiba. What do you mean by issues? Riaz. Sarayer told the higher-ups that he wants to take on everything we have, and the higher-ups allowed that. So there isn't a restraint on us like the match against Citri. But it seems like the higher-ups added a special rule while allowing that. Zenovia. Special rules. Riaz. Yes, this time the stadium will be in a flying city located in the Archduke Ager's territory. It seems like they will take in lots of viewers, so they aren't looking for a long-duration battle from the beginning. Issei a flying city? What could they possibly need that for? I guess the rumors that places like that actually do exist in the underworld, but seriously a flying city? What's next? A clothing country. Riaz. And on top of that we have to participate in the game while a lot of people are watching us. Since there are viewers, it means we won't have a game which lasts for a day or several days, it will be a blitz. Ravel. That makes sense, the rating game is also a form of entertainment, so it can't be helped if there are parts where it's focused on the fans' preference. In the underworld, Ria's group and Sarayer Bale group have a lot of popularity which doesn't even lose to that of a professional, despite being a youth group who has yet to become a professional. This match is even being brought up on the television every day. Riaz. Yes, that is correct, I would have told you much sooner, but I've been wrapped up with quite a few things. Azazel. That aside, it's time for us to head to the conference. Is everyone ready? They all nodded and teleported to the underworld. Upon arriving in the underworld, they were in a room full of expensive furniture and food on the tables. They were on the top floor of a very expensive hotel in the Gremory territory. Alright, we've got 20 minutes, everyone head to the changing rooms to make any final adjustments to your appearance. Riaz, the girls, and Gasper went to the changing rooms while Kiba, Issei, and Ravel stayed in the room. So guys, how's everything going? Especially you Issei. Issei. I'm fine, my life force has fully been recovered. Azazel. Including what you lost from the Juggernaut drive. Issei. Yes. Azazel. Interesting, very interesting. How's your relationship with Ravel? Both of them turned red and started stammering when Azazel asked that question. Issei. Well you see well. Ravel. The thing is that, Azazel. You two haven't made much progress have you? Issei. Ravel. No. Azazel. I understand you two are trying to take things slow, but you need to spend more time with each other in order to better understand one another. Start small by going on dates and work your way up from there. True love can't be rushed, but it also can't be dragged along. Sigh, if it wasn't for the Cows Brigade I'd tell you after the rating game to take a vacation, but, Issei. Don't worry Azazel, we'll figure it out and we appreciate the advice. Ravel. Yes, it's just as Issei said. Tiba. And Issei, don't forget you and Ravel have to tell her family and your parents that you're married. Issei. I haven't, I've already decided what to do regarding my parents and regarding Ravel's family. He clenched his fist, that's why I have to win this fight, not just to fulfill my promise to Sarayer, but to prove I'm worthy of marrying Ravel. Azazel. Hahaha, well said Issei, well said, after all she is a precious member of the Phoenix family, not to mention the only daughter of Lord and Lady Phoenix. Tiba. I agree. Ravel. Blushing, guys, stop, you're embarrassing me. Issei. But it's the truth, besides, you look so cute when you're blushing. Ravel. Baka, she said while punching Issei in the shoulder. Issei. Laughing. Oh, then Issei stopped laughing when he felt the others approaching. Riaz and the girls, including Roswis, after a lot of consideration, decided to simply wear their school uniforms. The only thing that was different was they put some makeup on their faces, making them look even more beautiful. They had hoped the makeup would make Issei awestruck and drooling over them like he usually did and make him want to talk to them, but much to their disbelief and displeasure, Issei looked at them like nothing had changed at all. Instead he spoke to Gasper. Issei. Hey Gasper, you look nice in those clothes, they're a lot better than the other ones, that's for sure. Gasper was wearing a dark green jean jacket, a white t-shirt, some navy blue pants, and some blue and white sneakers. Gasper. Thanks, I thought I should try wearing something different. Riaz and the girls couldn't believe it. He ignored them and complimented Gasper. Riaz felt disappointed and her heart ached even more, while the rest of the girls were furious, especially Akeno. She didn't like that Issei kept making Riaz sad. She and Riaz were best friends and she didn't like the way Issei was treating them, like they didn't exist. But what Issei did next was the last straw. Asia. Issei, what about us, don't we look nice? Issei. Sure, he said as he closed his eyes and sat back in the chair. This was the absolute breaking point. All the girls excluding Riaz, Asia and Roswis wanted to snap at Issei for the way he was treating them when the door of the changing room opened. It's a member of staff. Staff member, excuse me, we're ready for you now. Azazel. Alright, time to go everyone, see you later. Issei. See you later Ravel. Tiba. Later. Asper. Later. Ravel. I'll see you guys later, good luck. Issei. Thanks. Riaz and the other girls didn't say anything to Ravel, they still hadn't gotten over the fact that Issei had completely ignored them. Unfortunately for them, Zenobia was planning something quite foolish, and it was going to cost them. Issei Pav. After leaving the waiting room, I decided to keep my distance from Riaz and the rest of the girls by walking at the end of the group where Roswis also happens to be at, then she slowed down a little so she could whisper to me. She cast a low soundproof barrier so Riaz and the others couldn't hear us. Roswis. Hey, Issei, I know this is late, but I'm sorry for what happened to you, she said to me, and I asked, what do you mean? Roswis. I'm talking about the curse, Azazel told me. I figured as much since you didn't ask questions at the training grounds when I gave them the cold shoulder. There's no need to apologize, what transpired that day wasn't your fault. Roswis. I know, but still, if there's a way I can help, let me know, I'll do whatever I can to help. Thanks Sensei, you're always looking out for us. You're a dependable woman, I see why Auden kept you as his bodyguard. Roswis. Blushing, oh thank you, it's only natural that I'd look out for my comrades, and if a person can't be dependable they have no value. That's true, I responded. Then while we were on our way to the interview, we encountered someone who we are familiar with. The Issei, guys, it's good to see you. But Saji, I wonder why is he here? Saji, what are you doing here? Saji. You don't know. Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Saji stopped talking, it was as if someone froze him in time. What the hell happens to him? Saji, you alright? Issei, don't bother, this is the result of the Dragon's Fall curse. I forgot to mention that when a dragon catches Dragon's Fall, another dragon will automatically know. Vritra is explaining things to Saji, who is somewhat part dragon due to being Vritra's host. He should return back to normal in a few moments. But we got rid of the cure, so he shouldn't know, right? Wrong. Well, we did get rid of Dragon's Fall, however. When a dragon catches Dragon's Fall, it gives off a certain aura unique to dragons. Momo. Saji, you okay? Ria. Haidu, what did you do to him? Issei. I didn't do anything, I swear. Riaz. Let's all calm down, I don't think. Saji. Girls, relax, I'm alright, Vritra was talking to me, that's all. Come on, let's go, we're holding up Issei and the others. Later we said goodbye to them, but as Saji walked past he whispered to me, you've got some explaining to do. After Saji, Momo, Ria, and the other two girls left. Then we continued walking towards the conference room. The moment we entered, cameras starting flashing taking pictures of us. We were also applauded by the reporters. To be honest, they're making too much of a big deal out of this. I can already tell this shit is going to be boring as hell. I'd rather be training with Anos and Drake. The one good thing here is it's a chance to repair mine and Drake's reputation. No doubt these reporters are going to ask some questions in regards to my former excessive perverseness. Honestly, I really regret it when I look back in my perverseness. I can't believe how ridiculous I acted. Volley will probably make fun of me the next time we meet. I noticed that the seats are arranged to gather attention. This must be like a buffet for reporters and writers, a chance to get an inside scoop on the rating game, or at the very least somewhat. On the Bale team side, especially from Saraerg, I can feel intense spirit emitting from his body. So the thing I felt when I first entered was Saraerg's fighting spirit. His expression is also quite serious. He is totally different from the time I met him back at the hospital. Maybe the fight between us has already begun with this press conference. To be honest, I wouldn't mind if a fight broke out here and now. I can't wait to fight him, just thinking about it is making my blood boil and my heart race, and here I was talking about Volley being a battle maniac. Well, it can't be helped considering how much time I've spent around Dragon Anos, but still perhaps thinking of some breasts will calm me down. Here we go with this again. Hey, it's not my fault that I can't control my excitement. I need to think of something to calm down, and besides, today is the day that I make one of the largest steps in rebuilding our reputation. Fine, thanks buddy. As I looked around this tedious scene, I saw on the second row Gasper having a stern expression on his face. It seems like he is enduring the embarrassment. Keep it up, Gasper, I'm proud of you for trying. Host. Since everyone from both sides has gathered, I would like to start the press conference. The person who will be the host said that, and the press conference began. After discussing boring topics such as basic information and the game's outline, the host asked the opinions of both kings. Both seemed very confident. Then finally the thing that made this boring thing worthwhile finally came. It was my turn to answer questions, and I was gonna blow their minds. Reporter 1. I want to ask Issei Haidu Aka Appai Dragon, who is very popular in the underworld, a question. Will you also be poking Princess Ria's breast this time as well? If you were to poke, then in what kind of situation would you poke them? We received the information that just like the Grab and Dragon program you power up by poking Princess Ria's breasts. We also heard that you overcame many crises because of it. These damn idiots, I knew they would pull this, good thing I saw this coming, and Ria's is blushing hard, her face is redder than the color of her hair. I wish she would retort such a thing, but it seems she's too embarrassed, not gonna lie despite what they did to me, I feel bad for embarrassing her like this. As I was about to answer, the dumbass reporter directed the question towards Ria's. Reporter 2. Switch Princess Ria's, please give us your comment regarding this. Ria's was too embarrassed to answer and she covered her face with both her hands. Ria's. I don't know. Anos, please forgive me. Avend, Issei. That's enough, Issei shouted as his eyes flashed green and he intentionally used some compulsion magic to shut the reporters up. Can't you see that you're embarrassing my master? Stop this foolishness and ask some real questions. You're only asking those ridiculous questions for ratings and some extra cash. Reporter 3. But Op-Eye Dragon, Issei. Do not call me that, I am not the Op-Eye Dragon, and in case you haven't heard, the Grab and Dragon show is being rewritten, the Op-Eye Dragon is no more. Everyone except Kiba was shocked to hear that information. Reporter 4. But why? Everyone likes it, Issei. First let's get something straight, let this sink deep into your brains, I am not a pervert. Anymore. This information broke everyone's mind, even Sarerg was shocked. The reporters tried asking questions, but Issei cut them off. I'm still talking, cutting someone off is rude, you know. Now, as I was saying, not everyone likes it, some actually hate it, and the one person who hates it more than anything is my best friend and partner Drake. He is one of the main reasons why the show is being rewritten. The show has damaged his pride and reputation along with my own. Not only that, but he finds it depressing that he's being associated with things such as breasts. He is a heavenly dragon after all, he's supposed to be full of pride, dignity, and honor. Have I poked Trace breasts in the pat during a time of crisis? Yes, I have, but it will never happen again. And before you ask, no, I am not going to suck on her breasts either. The perverted Issei Haidu you all know is gone. I am done being a pervert. I'm tired of people disrespecting and looking down on me. I will become the strongest Red Dragon Emperor in history, past, present, and future. So Sarerg, you better watch out because I'm gonna kick your ass. Sarerg. Bring it on, Issei Haidu, I look forward to it. So the rest of the conference went smoothly. Issei answered the questions he felt were relevant and the others he ignored, and Sarerg answered some questions as well. After the conference was over, Sarerg and his queen Kusha Abaddon stood in the hall and spoke to Issei and the Gremory group before they left. After Issei and the Gremory group left, Kusha spoke to Sarerg. Kusha. Something is off with the Red Dragon Emperor. Sarerg. You noticed it too, huh? I felt something was strange when he told the reporters to shut up. The first thing that caught my attention was his behavior. Issei doesn't seem like the kind of person to snap on someone. The second thing that caught my attention, which I'm sure caught yours as well, is he stated that he's not a pervert, and the last was I felt more draconic aura coming from him than usual. Kusha, perhaps he gave up another part of his body and not being a pervert anymore. I don't know what to make of it. Sarerg. Neither do I, but I'm going to enjoy fighting him. Kusha. Of course you will. With Issei and the orc. After the conference was over, the orc teleported back to the orc building, while Rias teleported somewhere else. As Issei was about to walk out of the orc building, Akeno put up a barrier, making Issei stop in his tracks. Issei turned around with a nonchalant expression and saw an angry Akeno, Zenobia, Kaneko and surprisingly Asia, while Roswis was confused as to what was going on. Zenobia. Issei, we need to talk now. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.